Welcome back everybody. Today we'll discuss the short questions and answers from the poem The Poetry of Earth. The Poetry of Earth was written by John Keats. So let's start. The Poetry of Earth. Short questions and answer. Question number 1. Which form of poetry does the poet use in the Poetry of Earth? Which form of poetry does the poet use in the Poetry of Earth? The poet uses the Petrarchan form of the sonnet. The Petrarchan form of the sonnet. What is the theme of the poem The Poetry of Earth? The theme of the poem The Poetry of Earth is the celebration of nature's music or earth's music. The theme of the poem The Poetry of Earth is the celebration of nature's music through all seasons. Is the celebration of nature's music through all seasons. Next, question number 3. The poetry of earth is never dead. The poetry of earth is never dead. What does the word poetry stand for? The word poetry stands for the music. The word poetry stands for music. What are the words and phrases used by Keats to suggest that the season is summer? What are the words and phrases used by Keats to suggest that the season is summer? To suggest that the season is summer, Keats uses words and phrases like faint, hot sun, cooling trees, summer's luxury, and tired out. So, here the poet uses some phrases and words like faint, hot sun, cooling trees, summer's luxury, and tired out to denote the season of summer. Who takes the lead in summer luxury? Who takes the lead in summer luxury? The grasshopper. The grasshopper takes the lead in summer luxury. The grasshopper takes the lead in summer luxury. What does the phrase summer luxury suggest? What does the phrase summer luxury suggest? Here the phrase suggests the abundance of summer. Here the phrase suggests the abundance of summer. The abundance of summer. Plenty of summer. Abundance means plenty. Plenty of summer. Who hide in cooling trees and when? Who hide in cooling trees and when? When the birds are exhausted in the scorching heat of summer. When the birds are exhausted in the scorching heat of the sun, they hide in cooling trees. Or it means when the birds become exhausted due to the scorching heat of the summer or due to the excessive heat of sun, they hide in cooling trees. They take shelter in cooling trees. What is meant by new moon mead? What is meant by new moon mead? The phrase new moon mead suggests the grassy land, the land of grass, has been trimmed recently. New moon means newly trimmed, mead means meadow or any grassy land. Any grassy land trimmed recently, that is the new moon mead. A voice will run from hedge to edge. A voice will run from hedge to hedge. Whose voice is this? And what is the meaning of a voice will run? Whose voice is this? The voice here refers to the voice of the grasshopper. Here the voice of the grasshopper is being referred to. Here the voice of the grasshopper is being referred to. And what is the meaning of a voice will run? By the phrase a voice will run, Keats suggests the movement of the grasshopper. by the phrase "a voice will run," it suggests the movement of the grasshopper. The movement of the grasshopper. Next, he has never done with his delights. He has never done with his delight. Who is he? What does Keats suggest here? Here he refers to the grasshopper. Here he refers to the grasshopper. And the expression never done with his delights refers to or suggests that in summer days, delight of the grasshopper never comes to an end. In summer's days, delight of the grasshopper never comes to an end. Next, he takes the lead in summer luxury. He takes the lead in summer luxury. What does this line suggest? Or who takes the lead in summer luxury? The grasshopper takes the lead in summer luxury because he remains unaffected by the scorching heat of the sun. One point to be remembered, that all the birds are faint due to the scorching heat of the sun, whereas the grasshopper is tired out with the making of fun or delightment. The grasshopper becomes tired because of the delightment, whereas all the birds are tired out of excessive heat or the scorching heat of the summer. Next question. What is meant by the poetry of earth is ceasing never? The poetry of earth is ceasing never. The poet here lays more emphasis on the fact that the music of nature is never ending and it is ever living or everlasting. Here the poet actually wants to indicates that the poetry of earth is stopping never. It continues with the changes of season, with the changes of seasons. How is winter evening described in the poem? How is the winter evening described in the poem? According to the poet Keats, the winter evening is frosty. The winter evening is frosty, chill, and a silence prevails there. Lonely wintry evening. In a word, it's a lonely wintry evening. Who shrills from the stove? The cricket shrills from the stove. What, according to Keats, is never dead and ceaseless? What, according to Keats, is never dead and ceaseless? The poetry of earth is never dead and it is beyond stopping. The poetry of earth is never dead and it is ceaseless. Who has created a silence in winter? The frost. The frost has created a silence in winter. The frost has created a silence in winter. Why does Keats make voices of the grasshopper and the cricket? Why does Keats make voices of the grasshopper and the cricket? To refer to the cycle of seasons, the poet makes the different voices of the grasshopper and the cricket. Next question. Why does Keats contrast summer with frost? The poet does this in order to prove the difference in seasons. The poet does this in order to prove the difference in season. What seasons does What seasons do the grasshopper and the cricket symbolize? What seasons do the grasshopper and the cricket symbolize? The grasshopper symbolizes the season of summer and the cricket symbolizes the season of winter. The grasshopper symbolizes the season of summer, whereas the cricket symbolizes the season of winter. Next, what does the grasshopper metaphorically represent? The grasshopper metaphorically represents the youth with all its vigor and happiness. The grasshopper actually metaphorically represents the youth with all its vigor and happiness. What does the season of winter symbolize? The season of winter symbolizes the sad, painful periods of life. The sad and painful periods of life. Who warms the winter frost and how? Who warms the winter frost and how? The cricket warms the winter frost with its music. The cricket warms the winter frost with its music. The cricket warms the winter frost with its music. Why are all the birds faint? All the birds are faint and feel exhausted because of the scorching heat of the sun. What is the original title of the poem? The original title of the poem is On the Grasshopper and Cricket. On the Grasshopper and Cricket. What does the grasshopper do when he is tired out, or where does the grasshopper take rest? Being tired out of fun, the grasshopper takes rest beneath some pleasant weed or beneath some comfortable weed. So when the grasshopper becomes tired out, making of fun, he rests beneath some pleasant weed. One in drowsiness half lost, the grasshopper among some grassy hills. One in drowsiness half lost, the grasshopper among some grassy hills. What does the expression refer to here? The expression refers to a person who is in drowsiness, half lost, or in semi-conscious, thinking or imagining the cricket seal as the grasshopper coming from a grassy hill. So, the expression refers to a person who is in drowsiness, half lost, or in semi-conscious, thinking or imagining the cricket seals as the grasshopper coming from a grassy hill. Next question. Summer luxury. Summer luxury refers to the abundance of summer. Summer luxury actually refers to the abundance of summer. What is the date of the composition of the poem? The date of composition of the poem is 30th December. The poem is composed on 30th December 1860. The poem is composed on 30th December 1816. What does the phrase the poetry of earth mean? Here, poetry stands for music. So the phrase the poetry of earth refers to the music of nature or earth. Here the poetry stands for music. So the poetry of earth actually refers to the music of nature. So